Did you ever think of that, Steve?
No, I
Yes,
didn't. I didn't think of that.
Well, you should have.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I didn't put that much thought into Nicolas Cage starring in Knowing. A professor, Nicolas Cage, deciphers a mysterious code, fortune-telling future calamities. How could I not pay attention to that?
This movie,
Fortune-telling.
It's foretelling.
What did I say?
Fortune-telling.
Yeah, fortune-telling.
Wait, you said
calamity.
fortune-telling?
He said fortune-telling future calamity.
It sounds better
Foretelling.
as fortune-telling.
Oh, my word.
Whatever. I guess we'll bring it in there.
We probably have an intro in there somewhere, right?
Somewhere.
Or do we need a goofier intro?
Oh, my God.
Michael, say something dumb.
Steve.
Oh, you're clipping your mic.
I don't care. Steve.
Oh, wait. Michael's colorblind, so he can't see when the mic clips because it turns red, but he can't see it because he's colorblind.
Or I just never look at the thing ever. I don't think I've ever looked at that box while we're doing this, ever.
Michael, I will ask that you don't look at my box while we're recording.
Steve, I look at your box when I want to.
Knowing.
So we watched a movie.
If only
we
he
watched the
knew
movie.
that you were going to touch his butt.
And then after the movie, we talk about the movies.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now.
Is that what this is?
I think that's what this is.
Is that what this is?
I don't want to do this anymore. Welcome to Every Film in the Book. I'm Steve.
I'm Danielle.
Steve does as he's told.
I can't stop laughing at
That's Michael or whatever.
I hated this movie.
We watched Knowing.
With Nicolas Cage.
Oh,
The
my
greatest to
God.
ever do it.
Yeah, no, he's the greatest. I thought
He
you
is
were
the man, the myth, the legend.
Well, I mean, but he did that movie really well.
Yeah,
You gotta hand it to him.
Yeah,
So,
no, he was screaming on that cell phone like his life depended on it.
Before we watch this movie, I had to look up how many movies Nicolas Cage has been in, and Google says about 113. And how the fuck is it about 113?
I just want to know how Google doesn't have a definite answer. Like, even Google's like, I don't know, fucking take a guess. It's probably around 113.
Sorry, my phone is lighting up every time we say Google because it thinks we're talking to it.
Hey, Google, stop being so stupid.
Oh,
Don't make the machines mad, Steve. Come on.
No, dude, we die by solar flare, not by robots. Come on,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
fine.
So this movie is 2 hours. It is a science fiction, and I didn't really know that for about 90% of the movie until the end.
I literally thought this was just some natural disaster movie, and like they were
Right.
just predicting natural disasters.
Yeah.
I had no fucking. I was bamboozled when aliens start getting involved.
It seemed more like a suspenseful, like something a little more like a little movie called The Happening.
Hey, bro,
Have you ever heard of that movie?
the sun's gonna kill us, bro.
Yeah. That's what I thought this movie was.
On this date, bro, at this longitude, the plants are gonna kill us, bro.
That's basically
Nicolas Cage will be
But
there.
in this movie, the plants die too.
Oh,
That's the
Oh.
difference.
Everybody else dies, Michael,
Yeah.
except for them. Everybody else. I didn't. I want to know how she got that deep into wood with her nails.
What?
She wrote the message in the wood.
Oh, okay. So
What'd you think I was saying?
Just wait. That was like the worst way to introduce a topic ever.
jeez,
What
I just
did I-
didn't know how she got that deep
In
in the wood. Like what?
Oh
So
my god, I hate all.
so this movie starts in 1959, and it's a school. It's opening.
I'm
it's like
actually
an elementary
glad you
school.
remembered that. I had no idea.
Yeah, this is how this movie starts, right?
Okay.
And so you see this little girl, and it seems very much like a modern day horror movie with the possessed little girl, and you think that she's like possessed by a demon or something.
Well, yeah, she's hearing like voices whispering to her.
Mhm.
Like every instinct in my body is like, kill that kid. It's
She's
possessed.
possessed. She has like baggy eyes and shit.
Yeah. Demons don't let you sleep. It's hell.
And so they're putting a time capsule in the ground. They want all the kids to draw a picture, put it in the time capsule, and this one psycho little girl just starts writing a bunch of numbers.
Honestly, I thought it was Morse code. She's writing like a message in Morse code.
That would be dots and dashes.
Dots and dashes, Steve. This is lines and numbers.
Wait, what's the 1001?
That's binary. Oh, fuck. So you thought it was binary?
No, Steve.
Son of a bitch.
But it's not like cute 7-year-old writing.
Right.
Yeah, no.
It's like adult, small, and way too many numbers that a kid should ever write in a row.
And she's
ever.
writing like all the way to the edge of the page, like no margins. Like,
No.
Yeah, she's efficient. She's using every inch of that paper.
She was.
The elementary school wasn't teaching a whole lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
She was too busy going insane from the voices.
All right, 3 plus 1 is 1, 3, 7, 9, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14.
But when she's standing outside with the balloon, though, like,
The time capsule's being put in the ground at this point.
and she's just standing out of place.
Yeah.
She doesn't belong there, but she's holding this balloon, and the string looks like a small rope. Like the balloon string was like extremely thick.
I think they CGI'd the balloon because
So I'm not
it was
sure.
going to float away.
Either
like,
that or balloon strings 50 years
Anything
ago
they
were
didn't
really
feel
thick.
like paying for in this movie, they CGI.
It was
like,
all CGI.
like the grass was CGI. Nicolas Cage was CGI for a second.
The cars, everything was CGI. But yeah, so it basically all centers around a little girl in 1959 who put a list of numbers in a time capsule in the ground, and they were like, all right, we're going to open it in 50 years. As soon as that happened, though, she ran away or something.
Yeah, they never explained. They just said she disappeared that day.
Right. And then,
oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah, she was in the closet.
Yeah, I was getting... So she disappeared, but they found her in a closet with blood on her fingers because she was scratching in the wood, like, more numbers on the back of a door. And then it cuts to the title screen.
Are you guys interested yet? Because there's... Believe it or not, still an hour and 49 minutes left once we set up the origin story of Knowing, starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, so with that opening, it definitely seems like it would be kind of horror movie-esque, right?
100% horror. Like,
right?
Yeah.
And the kid's probably possessed. It's some type of supernatural something.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, so then they cut to, like, Earth. They're just like...
They're like, we sent an astronaut out there to take pictures of Earth.
Yep.
He threw back this camera, and this is what he got.
This is what we're using for the intro to the movie.
It's just, like, slowly zooming in closer and closer to their town.
It is the cool, like, at night where you can see the lights photos, but it's like
that's still
been
like
done,
stock images. Like
it's been done a few times
just a couple
in the cinema world.
Our budget for this movie was $75 million. We spent 69 of that million to send a guy into space to take photos.
And this was 2009. Like,
yeah, they could have done it. We still had a space program back then.
I just mean they could have been more creative. It was 2009. They have no excuse.
Well, no, this was about as creative as 2009 got.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, they spent $69 million to send a guy into space for our opening credits for a movie that nobody saw.
I watched it in 2009.
Yeah, but you watched everything. That's not even like
this was a classic.
You're not the average. You're like the outlier.
So Nicolas Cage is a freaking astrophysicist or some shit.
And Mark Wahlberg's a science teacher, bro. We could hang out.
I don't think
talk about the plants, bro.
I don't think they ever mentioned what school he teaches at.
MIT.
Well, it was MIT.
Yeah, he taught at MIT.
Yeah, he had like a name badge, and he's like,
hold on.
I'm a scientist.
Before we go, let me just say that again. Nicolas Cage taught at MIT
as an astrophysicist.
Yeah, and he was good. He figured out when the world was gonna end.
He figured it out himself.
He was really good.
The man who's starred in about 113 movies is the star astrophysicist at MIT.
Yeah.
Well,
don't
they're
question
unsure
it.
of the number because if they couldn't get him for the movie, they'd be like, well, he was almost in it. So
Yeah,
we'll give
no,
it to
we
him.
almost got
And then
him.
they had to add another one on. They're like, he's been in.
He was almost in about 200
Yeah.
movies,
They're like, ah,
but he ended up in about 113.
right.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so he's an astrophysicist at MIT. He's teaching his class, and he basically tells the students that like life is just a series of unpredictable events, and that
And
it's
mistakes
meaningless and
yeah.
nothing matters in the world. And all the students are like, but you were the fun professor. We were laughing a minute ago.
Wait, you just got all serious all of a sudden. Oh, no.
Yeah, no, he literally has an existential crisis in the middle of teaching
Yeah,
his
just at work.
science class.
Yeah, he just starts staring off into space with like the worried, like most worried look on his face. And one girl in the front row is like, Professor, are you okay?
Sorry, I was wondering how Mark Wahlberg dealt with his wife getting tiramisu with somebody. Mine died, but his
All right,
cheated on him.
This podcast is basically part 2 to The Happening, so you might as well go listen to that one first. Come back here.
Strap
Not
in.
even close.
Strap in, bro. We're going from Pennsylvania to later Pennsylvania, bro.
Jesus
I'm sorry. I'm obsessed with Mark Wahlberg.
All right.
And Nicolas Cage didn't fill that void.
So then
Yeah,
what's his name
luckily
comes
class
in.
was over
Yeah.
when he was having his mental breakdown at work, and his friend
class
came in.
dismissed.
Yeah, this is Ben Mendelsohn.
But this is so you see him teaching, you see him working, and then you immediately start seeing him forget that he has a son.
He was like, oh, shit.
Literally right into the movie. You're like, all right, he's got a kid. Also, he forgets about the kid
Damn
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Starting
Damn it.
now.
I was supposed to go to this ceremony. I'll be back.
Yeah.
He gets out of work, has a 2-minute conversation, and is already late for
Yeah.
something. And it was the opening of the time capsule ceremony.
Yeah.
50 years later.
Yeah, so it's been 50 years since they put this shit in the ground, and Nicolas Cage is still forgetting about his son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd say we got a solid plot so far.
Right?
I mean, he's a pretty regular looking child. Like, he looks pretty average.
Normal kid,
Blonde.
bad haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, bowl cut.
Mhm.
It's 2009. We're trying to bring it
That's,
back. It's just not coming
That's
back.
how it worked. That's how it worked back then. A lot of people had bowl cuts
I
growing
mean,
up.
Nicolas Cage has had the same haircut since like 1975.
If it
So, I
ain't
mean,
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, no,
See?
he's going hard. I like it.
But since all the children put so many letters in it, they handed the letters out of the time capsule to all the kids.
And the kids were fucking going
Dude, they were
crazy.
ravenous.
It was a little bit much.
Like, give me a goddamn letter, teach.
Like, I don't think kids these days would be that interested. They'd be like, cool, picture. Anyway.
Yeah, but this like
TikTok.
90-year-old teacher from
It was
1959.
The same teacher was still alive.
Yeah, she's just like, okay, now, children, don't break my hip. Here's your letter.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, dude, that's line for line what happened in the movie.
Not even close. The kid gets the letter
Yes,
from
Yep.
the
Of
crazy
course.
girl.
What's her
Nicolas
name?
Cage's son gets Lucinda,
Lucinda.
Linda, and Lucy.
Combine.
Yes.
He, of course, he wouldn't be in the movie if he didn't get the letter. So he
Right.
gets the
Yeah,
letter.
I mean, and he wouldn't be Nicolas Cage's son unless he got that letter.
Of
Oh,
course.
yeah. He would just be normal.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
the minute he gets this letter, his hearing aid. Oh yeah, we didn't mention that the kid is deaf. That's just some
Well,
random thing that doesn't really.
That's explained really bad throughout the whole movie.
He's not entirely deaf, but he has to wear hearing aids. And
But-
he knows sign language, but he doesn't need sign language.
And he described it as sometimes his sounds get all jumbled up.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
What does that
what?
mean? What is the medical diagnosis your son has
Ah,
that he
but the
needs a
one-
hearing
No, it
aid?
just sometimes gets a little jumbled up. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I mishear things, but I'm just stupid. I don't need a hearing aid.
I don't know, I think it kind of, if you want to believe it, the kid's been hearing voices a little bit before that.
Right.
Right.
Could be. Or
yeah.
it could also just be their way of being like, well, we don't actually really want to put like a fully deaf kid, because that's a commitment. Like then you have to like do all the sign language research, and that's just too much.
Well,
so we'll just do like a little bit of it.
Yeah, like we'll take a half
think about
measure.
that in 2009. They just cast a kid that fit the budget.
Shit, we spent $69 million to send a guy into space. All right, we got to cut the sign language out of the movie. We can't train this kid.
We can't afford the fire moose.
Yeah.
CGI the fire moose.
They had a real.
They were gonna send out real mooses.
Center shot close up of that fire moose too, like dead center frame. This is the fire moose.
No, it's like in the special features. It's like we really wanted to light this moose on fire, but just budget cuts. We really couldn't do it, so we CGI'd.
Be a little too expensive for our budget.
They just have the moose in the background, like we almost got you, buddy.
I almost got you. Next time.
But the CGI, at least for me, but I like this movie because it's terrible. But the CGI I could overlook because what they did with it was way over the top.
Yeah.
Like
it's
pure
true.
gold.
All the like the couple natural disaster, like the plane crash and stuff, like
they were pretty metal.
They were pretty intense scenes that didn't last a minute.
Yeah.
Like
it's true.
It's kind of cool.
If they did one thing in this movie, it's they drug everything out. So they even drug the good action sequences out
That's
too.
true.
I just wish there were now I know I said this before, but I just wish there was more of the natural disasters. Like by the time he gets this list and he goes through his whole drunken rampage of solving and decoding the list, which is just a list of natural disasters and how many people died and the coordinates of where they died.
Right, but he only figures it out half at a time.
Right.
And that's what adds literally an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
If he'd have figured both pieces of the puzzle out at the same time, it would have
be
saved us
shorter.
like an hour and 15
Yeah,
minutes.
Seriously, you could have cut so much off if he just was a little bit of a better astrophysicist.
If he wasn't drunk while he was doing it, he would have got it
so
first
we
try.
have to talk about that scene because it's such a weird coincidence how he noticed it. Like, first of all, he found the letter in his son's backpack or whatever. And then,
which apparently they were supposed to return to the school.
Right.
Yeah.
These weren't gifts for the students. Like, hey, dude, cool. It's like a kid from the past.
But also,
Yeah.
you really see his completely odd style of parenting, of being like extremely direct and having no candid conversations with a 9-year-old.
Right.
Now, Caleb, I need you to do your homework and fuck off. Dad's got to drink half a pint.
that was
That was
90%
literally
of
the
their-
vibe.
Yeah.
The whole time was
It's
he's
like,
I
go
don't
do your homework.
Dad's got this bottle of whiskey he's got to download.
I think it's all because he didn't want to eat his hot dogs. So he's like, I'm going to be an asshole for a month. And
You
it just so
turned
happens the world's going to end during that month, and you're going to wish you were nicer to me.
You turned Dad dog night down. You
Dad
son of a bitch.
Dad and dog night. Oh.
Oh my God! Yeah. So what were you saying? He's decoding
found
the
the
stuff
letter.
drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so he's looking at the letter and he's like, "Oh, this is kind of weird. There's a bunch of numbers." And he sits it down in the kitchen, and then he goes into the living room and starts getting really drunk.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he's watching news reports or something.
He was watching the
Oh, he was
animal
watching
thing.
the documentary
Yeah,
on
his son was
tigers.
watching.
He's got like 3/5 of a glass full of some kind of whiskey. He takes one sip and then proceeds to start filling it again, like he's like he finished the whole thing.
Yeah.
So because of this action, he overfills his glass, which causes the glass to overflow.
Yep.
Then he happens to put this glass on the list of numbers.
In the kitchen because he was going to get a paper towel to clean the glass.
He's got to clean up his mess.
Yes.
He's nothing if not responsible.
Right.
Right? He's a clean alcoholic.
He happens to put this glass on the piece of paper, and he suddenly figures out that this girl predicted 9/11.
Yeah, he just sees 9/11/01. Why does that sound
Wait a
familiar?
second.
And then he like goes into Google.
He has to Google that 9/11 happened, and he's almost surprised. He's like, oh,
Well, he was
2,000 people died that day.
It was the
That's
number of
he was
interesting.
looking up the number of
9/11 2001. That's interesting. How come I never heard of this before?
I mean, we don't all have the number memorized of
No.
how many people died
It was
in 9/11.
100% acceptable
No.
to
It was
Google
like
it for the amount of deaths.
2,660
I'm not debating
something.
that he should know how many people died on that date.
Right.
I'm debating. He seems surprised when he Googled, and he's just like, "Huh, 9/11, you say? That's an interesting date. It's like, dude, how did you not know that happened?
Yeah, only 8 years ago.
Well, that's why he recognized it, because it's the most recognizable date.
I know, but like I don't know. He just seems so surprised.
Well, that's why they use that number.
Right, because it's so obvious.
Because it's 2009,
well, I don't
it's
know
the
any
only
other
major disaster.
I don't know any other dates for any other disasters ever.
That is true.
Yeah, like
you don't call any of them by their date.
Yeah,
no, we just say like Hurricane Katrina or like something like that.
Do you know the date that happened?
No, I just remember being in my house.
Do you know
and it
the
rained a
date
lot.
that Pearl Harbor happened off the top of your head? What was it?
Shit.
Exactly.
August?
If
No.
you can't do it right away, then it doesn't count.
Sometime in 1942.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, so you didn't even get the year right, let alone the date.
Oh, geez, Steve.
All right.
41? I don't know.
So he starts Googling shit, and he's going down a Google rabbit hole, and he's drinking. He's getting real sloppy ass drunk.
He's getting belligerent. He rips a whiteboard off of his wall. And
he's like, this can't be here. It has to be in another room.
But he's like throwing stuff off of like his desk to put this like barely big enough whiteboard onto like the stool so he can write out the list of numbers. I'm like, dude, it's so dramatic for this like tiny little whiteboard.
All right, but so he has a piece of paper with all the numbers in front of him. Couldn't he use the piece of paper and just start circling stuff on the...
Well,
he had to repeat all the numbers on a whiteboard.
He didn't want to write it on the original. Right. I mean, it was 50 years old, and he is a professor, so he would respect the artifacts.
Everybody knows astrophysicists respect paper.
Even though he left a good ring of whiskey right in the middle of it.
Listen, Nicolas
he's
Cage
been hammered for like 40 minutes of the first hour of the movie.
Yeah.
Listen, all right, Nicolas Cage put the Declaration of Independence in an oven to find a treasure map, so I don't think he cares about paper that much.
Or something.
Yeah.
Fucking. Oh my god.
So he figures out that there's events and that there's dates on a piece of paper with the number of people that died that day during a tragic event, and then there's some random numbers in between, and he's not really sure what those are. I don't honestly know how he deciphered that. Like, he would have had to go through like so many numbers.
Oh, it would have taken him
more than one night.
And I gotta be honest, when I'm that drunk, I
You're
can't
like
even figure out how to turn my computer on.
Yeah, but an astrophysicist that gets drunk is still going to be way smarter than sober Steve.
Whoa.
Wow.
Think about it, Steve.
Wow.
They're an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Them drunk is going to be smarter than you sober.
And I'm
100% of the time, all of them.
Listen, and I'm a DJ roadie, so, I'm pretty much an astrophysicist in my department.
Basically an astrophysicist.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. I got my PhD in fucking proving Michael wrong.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you're lucky you're sitting on that side of the couch.
I'll be talking with the committee later.
I have some few choice words for you, sir.
You can't. I know them all.
Oh, shit. You found out the code.
Boom. Figured it out.
He has the knowing.
Oh, my God. Nicolas Cage has passed his knowing on to Michael, guys.
You know how I knew, Steve?
How did you know?
They whispered it to me, Steve.
Oh, no. The whisper people.
Hey, Steve. Here's a smooth rock. Put it with all the others.
Now you know.
Like the dumbest shit. It's like, this was a message.
Okay. All right.
It's a fucking rock.
Hold on. So all throughout this movie, well, not all throughout, more towards the end, but we get these like black smooth rocks showing up from these people. We'll get more into it. I just want to touch on this right now.
Oh, the people.
So these small rocks, the whole movie, I'm like, all right, they're going to discover like coordinates or like something on these rocks. Just to find out that it's just the gravel where the fucking spaceships land. Like,
yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
What does that have to... Why are they giving those out to people?
Okay, if there's somebody out there listening to this podcast and you haven't seen this movie, you must be so confused right now.
Well, not to mention, we're kind of being pretty dumb.
We're all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, that is this movie, to be honest. This movie is insane.
It's literally like 30 to 40 minute breaks of just Nicolas Cage figuring shit out. And then
it gets
30-minute
crazy
breaks of natural disasters. And then we just instantly cut back to Nicolas Cage always being crazy. Like, I don't know how to really go plot by plot with this because the plot is explained in the first 15 minutes, and then there's an
Just
hour and
crazy
45 minutes left of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely plot that happens, and, you know, everything that happens is leading into something else. And
Nicolas Cage
crazy.
falls in love with a dead girl.
Sure.
And that's some of the other plot that happens.
Okay. I mean, she wasn't dead in the beginning.
Not quite, but
She died, but
she died later.
she was alive when
He also, he had to stalk her for a bit to bump into her at the aquarium, the zoo or whatever.
Oh my God.
So yeah, he basically spirals into insanity of trying to figure out what's going on. His scientist friend is like, "No, dude, you're crazy," and he's like, "I'm gonna prove it," and then he runs off. He finds
runs away crazy.
He does.
Yeah.
He just runs off.
He finds the girl who wrote this series of numbers in the first place, Lucinda.
Yes.
And finds her daughter and stalks her and then confronts her and gets her involved.
Well, it's just crazy because, like, they must have just dressed up this actress, like, in older makeup, took her picture, and then had her also play the daughter.
Yeah.
Because literally the picture they show you of this Lucinda character
looks
of,
like
like
her.
Yeah, is the actress.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, so she's either an identical twin to her mother, which I think is impossible. I don't know how that would work out.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the same, 100% the same
Wait,
person.
but was the girl who was the daughter's daughter, the grandchild of Lucinda, was she the same actress as the girl who was Lucinda in the beginning?
No.
They looked really really similar.
No.
Yeah,
They
no,
weren't-
I
they
don't
weren't
think
the
they
same.
were.
I mean, they both had the dark hair and the like really like buggy eyes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they just curled her hair or something to make her play the other girl.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
how do we turn her into someone else?
Curly hair.
Curly hair.
Curly hair.
Yeah.
Nobody will suspect the curly hair. But yeah, so and then oh shit, where did we?
So the movie starts officially. They've now explained everything,
Yep.
and he comes to a date that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yes.
And the day before, he gets blackout drunk and has a piece of pie on the floor and the empty bottle laying over. And
Was
he
that
wakes
a piece
up.
of pie or was that a sandwich?
No, it was piece pie.
Oh, okay.
I was really
It was
wondering
piece
about
pie.
that.
Yeah.
I know my pies. It was
That
piece
was my
pie.
top
So
question of this
But
movie.
again, all this movie happened, like every event of this movie happens because Nicolas Cage gets too drunk. So he figures out that 9/11 happened because he got too drunk and put his glass on the paper.
Well, they
Then he's present for the first predicting date because he got too drunk and he's late for carpool. So like Nicolas Cage
that's
just
kinda
needs
true.
to start getting drunk and we can start predicting every natural disaster.
But that hour and 15 minutes I said, if he'd have figured out both parts at the start, well, he figures out the second part driving to get his kid,
Right.
and just so happens to be at the longitude and latitude
Right.
where
Right,
the
like,
disaster was happening,
such a
and then
weird
made that
coincidence.
connection, then the plane crashed.
Yeah.
So it was all very convenient.
Yeah.
And
it's very convenient.
I even made a comment because he's stuck in traffic because the road's blocked off for some reason. It's pouring down rain, stuck in traffic, and he gets out to go see what's going on. I said to them, I'm like, how many times do you stop and get out in traffic in
During
the
a
rain? It's like
rainstorm.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, to be like, I wonder what's going
Dude,
on.
I gotta be
down there.
if the highway is blocked off and I see ambulances in front of me, I'm not getting out of my car. I'm locking the door. I'm like leaning the seat back. I'm like, I'm not here. It's not here. There's a ghost driving the car. Don't inspect this one. Like I don't want to be involved.
Could be a car accident, could be zombies. I'm playing dead.
Either way, I'm not here. But yeah, so
it saves his life though.
Yeah,
the
so-
weird behavior saved his life.
Yeah, so basically, while he's asking the cop, like, what's going on? Why is the road blocked off? The cop just, like, drops and, like, his jaw drops and he starts looking behind Nicolas Cage and running. And then you just see the worst CGI plane basically doing, like, a jackknife into the fucking ground.
Yep, plane crash.
Oh, my God. Like, things
Kaboom.
are exploding. it wasn't as big of an explosion as I was thinking. Like I was expecting like a few people to get like thrown backwards on the highway or something.
Well, but there were a lot of like after effects of it. So like it crashes and everything's on fire.
You got
very CGI fire.
He just runs right in there and starts.
Yeah, in the middle. He runs through like flames where he clearly would have been badly burned, but he came out without a scratch.
There's literally a scene. He's like putting his hand and body into the fire, and he's like, "Give me your hand, I'll help you."
Yeah, and it's like, dude,
walks out unscathed.
And his first attempt to help someone was yell at them as they ran by him on fire. Yeah. And then the second time,
he's like, "Let me help you."
He finally got a blanket over somebody. Yeah. So he kept getting better at it. They were like
clearly already dead and on fire, laying on the ground, and he just finds a blanket and like throws it over them.
At least your dead body will be comfortable with this blanket.
They would have made it. They would have survived.
They would have been
Burns aren't terrible.
I don't know how anyone survived, because the explosion that they showed basically encompassed the entire plane. So if the entire plane explodes, like, how are there people walking around like and they're like, I got dirty from a plane crash. Like, you'd be dead.
First of all, you have to be Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Did you forget? It was Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot he's capable of miracles.
Although, if you've ever heard of a plane crash story, like, most of the time, everyone dies, right?
Everybody dies.
Most of the time.
So,
or the plane just goes missing and we never know what happens to it.
The fact that there were like dozens of people who were running around.
Yeah.
I mean,
that seemed like way too many people.
A lot of those people we saw died. There was some secondary explosions.
They were all on fire.
People clearly dripping in jet fuel were lighting on fire.
Yeah.
But so he tries his best to help out where he can during this plane crash. He basically gets kicked away by paramedics because they're like, dude, stop doing CPR. You obviously don't know. You're
obviously untrained.
Like, get the hell out of here. We're going to go fix something.
Yeah.
So he goes home that night, and who is that? His sister is at home?
That's his sister.
I keep forgetting, like, when he sees her at the end of the movie, I was like, oh shit, oh my God. Nicolas Cage is about to get some strange before he dies. Then I was like, oh shit, wait, that's his family.
That's his sister.
Yeah, he went home to be with his family.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I didn't.
He
I wasn't
get any
attention.
strange. She died. She got hit by a truck.
I wasn't paying attention in this movie at all. I'm sorry.
And so.
Yeah, so he goes home.
Goes home, talks with her, and, he doesn't really talk with her. He just says, I just want to sleep. And then his son kind of interrogates him a little bit. Like,
he gives him the right shakedown,
Mm-hmm.
That's a term. Don't look at me like that. He gives him the shakedown. He's like, Dad,
Son's like, I'm not stupid, Dad. I know something's going on.
How come you don't love me like when Mom was alive? You're always obsessed with numbers and not about my colored pictures. Come on, Dad.
Dad, you don't care about my baseball games.
But Dad, the whisper people are whispering to me and you don't care, Dad. I wanted to play soccer and they gave me a rock instead.
Yeah. Please. Keep going, Steve. Yeah,
keep going, Steve. Gee whiz.
3 examples is enough.
I will not apologize for my actions.
I won't either.
I will not apologize for my comedy.
It's subjective, and
it's not even subjective.
It's subjective, and I am hilarious.
So that was the first
half of the movie.
The first half of the movie.
No, that was 40 minutes into the movie.
No,
that's when we paused it. That was 40 minutes into the movie.
Not
we
even.
Paused
it
because
close.
You went to go to the bathroom. That was 40 minutes into the movie.
Jesus.
We still had an hour and 20 minutes left.
Okay, so
it's a huge deal. That's not where we were in the movie at that time. Period.
We're gonna rush through the rest of this plot.
Yeah,
let's go.
Rush through the rest of the plot, Michael.
That was the first thing he survived.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and so the whole thing was that 81 people were supposed to die, and 81 people died.
And it all
made sense.
It all matched up. Now his colleague is like, "Oh, that's longitude and latitude. Oh, this kind of makes sense."
Yeah, and he only noticed that because his GPS happens to list the longitude and latitude on the screen.
What fucking Garmin Tom
He's
bullshit.
An astrophysicist. His GPS is probably dope.
They don't get different GPSs than the rest of the public.
No, his is just only longitude and latitude. There's no like street names or anything.
No. Just because he's an astrophysicist doesn't mean he's a cartographer. Yes, I know what a cartographer is. I know that's surprising.
He doesn't draw the maps. Reading a map is not cartography.
Cartography.
All the times you muffed words tonight, and you make fun of when I do it once?
I have to. It's my only defense. Oh,
he survived. His colleague is intrigued. He now believes. They freak out for a moment together like bros do.
Yep.
Yo, bro.
And then,
oh, shit, bro. This shit's crazy.
Yo, natural disasters are happening, bro.
now the woman believes him, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, and is waiting for him at the house after.
She thought he was insane, and she ran away from him.
Well, I mean, he fucking chases her through a cafe in the middle of, like, public, and nobody at this restaurant, like, it's like, hey,
ma'am, are you okay? Is he harassing you?
If Nicolas Cage wants to chase a woman at a restaurant, he can. No one's going to say nothing.
No, don't worry. It's just Nicolas Cage. He's an astrophysicist.
Just like a lot of things. We were like, oh, don't go after her. Oh, don't grab her arm. And then she leaves again and goes a little further.
These are all red flags.
Still chasing
he catches back up to her, does it another time, catches up to her again, and then eventually they get to her car. So like he followed her all the way to her car.
Yeah,
and
that's creepy.
Just because you have a kid with you doesn't make this okay.
Yeah, and he's just dragging his son along. He's like, hold on, kid. I have to go stalk this woman.
And the son's like, Dad, where are we going?
Shut up. You're going to give us away. I'm trying to sneak up on her.
It was very convenient.
So all of that for her to just come back and be like, you were right. I believe you.
I believed you the whole time, but my daughter, I needed to maintain appearances of running away from strangers.
Yeah.
Right. And they kind of do a little bonding and share some parenting stuff and a little bit about themselves. But it's nothing crazy. Yeah. But it does make
nothing
some
we needed a 2-hour movie to tell us.
Yeah.
No.
So she comes back and she's like, oh my God, my mom, she did have an ability, and I'm going to take you to a place where she used to live or some shit.
Yeah. And
a mobile home.
That's the time when we're confronted for real with the dudes in the woods stalking the kids.
Yeah, so the kids are left in the car sleeping while their parents go inside. Did we mention that this lady has a daughter? She has a daughter.
That's how she got here.
Yeah, Lucinda.
So the kids are in the car. And the parents are inside looking around. They find a fucking little pebble on the ground, and they're like, oh, look, it's a rock.
Yeah. And, like, there's a pile of rocks under this lady's bed. And Nicolas Cage is like, well, there's got to be a message under this bed. So he lifts up the bed, and it just says, everyone else. And I literally made this comment. So at the end of the list, like the numbered list that Nicolas Cage has, there's 2, like, what we thought were 3s, but they look like backwards E's. And we just happened to get the fact, oh, sometimes my mom used to write things backwards. It was like a cute little thing she did. And that just solves the entire plot right there. Because under the bed, it's just the words everyone else written like 1,000 times. And he's like, E stood for everyone else. Everyone else is going to die on this date. It's like, dude, that's a bit of a stretch. Just a bit.
It was a little bit of a stretch. I mean, this whole movie was a stretch.
Wow, you know the order. Yeah. Plane crash, subway crash, end of the world.
End of the world, yep.
That's just how it works.
Of that huge list, we only get 2 things. He's just like, oh my God, there's only 2 events left. It's like, but that's a huge list of numbers. And there's a bunch of numbers that he didn't even touch.
Yeah, well, Michael said that earlier. I'm literally saying, and you were going to come in and say it, that the end of the list is a very long number because everyone dies. So it's like 1 billion some people.
Yeah, but
there was like 14 numbers left, and it's like, well, no, a lot of people on this one.
That was
like I get that, but how did he solve a pattern in these numbers when there's like 6 numbers or like 5 numbers or like 3 numbers in between each one of these dates that he circles on the list? He just randomly decides, but like,
well, because he Googled dates.
Yeah,
he Googled every series of numbers that you could possibly put on that list.
And the longitude and latitude were 2 sets of 4 numbers, so there would be a section of 8 numbers that weren't dates. Steve.
Yeah, but it's stupid. It's stupid.
He's an astrophysicist. You're not getting that he's wicked smart. He's wicked smart, and he figured it out.
He couldn't figure that out in like 5 hours. Like,
he couldn't have solved this without getting blackout drunk.
No, it was weird.
An astrophysicist,
but it had to be an existential crisis to get the second half too.
Yeah.
So he either has to be drinking or dying,
right?
And he can get puzzles really good.
Yes,
he's good at puzzles.
So
the kids are outside.
Yeah, so they're getting attacked by these people in trench coats, and they're all
David
like,
Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie comes out of the cornfield, and he's like, "Let me sing you a song, bruv." And he's like knocking on the window, and they're whispering to the kids. And, Nicolas Cage's son hits the horn and gets them out of this mobile home. And they're like, "Who's messing with my kids?" And they're like, "Oh, don't worry. It was just the whispered people. They're nice."
That sounds
and this
rapey.
is the first time he sees one for himself.
Yeah.
Like, he saw the men in the car, but this was a guy that had followed them somewhere. Like, it wasn't their house.
Right.
And he saw him too.
Yeah, earlier it was the one with the little boy out front in his yard, and there were two people in a car who gave him the rock initially. That was like the first encounter, and then this was like the second one. I think.
Like the actual like, holy shit, these people are real, and Nicolas Cage can see them too.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your first like credibility with, okay, this might not be paranormal if that was actually he saw a person walking.
I don't know. I was still on the road of, I thought this was paranormal. I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought they were like ghosts, or like I was going with like Grim Reapers. Like they were kind of giving like warnings of like major deaths.
Because they were handing out black rocks.
And that was kind of like their calling card. Like every time like Lucinda had so many under her bed because like she witnessed so many of these events. So every time like a bunch of death happened, they came and brought her one of these rocks.
Here's a rock. We killed some people.
Yeah,
it's like Charlie Brown trick or treating. It's like, I got a rock. 2,000 people died today, and I got a rock.
It was a smooth rock, though.
It was very smooth.
Very
Good
smooth
job,
rock.
aliens.
Thanks.
But yeah, basically all of this is just them racing to the end of the world, and the world finding out, oh shit, all these sunspots are gonna kill us. And
Nicolas Cage figures that out.
Yeah.
He's an astrophysicist.
And he
figures
somehow gets this out to the news, and everyone's just like, yeah, no, all right, that makes sense. We'll make the announcement later this afternoon.
He makes a comment that's like, they already know.
Yeah.
We have to hide.
But like, it just seems like wouldn't they kind of like question it a little bit? They're just like, oh yeah, no, right, that makes sense. We'll put it on the news this afternoon.
Well,
thanks for calling us Nicolas Cage.
They didn't believe him.
Yeah.
The first time when he said about the
subway.
the subway incident.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about
Well, at least
the
he
subway.
tried with the subway.
Yeah, he tried to get everyone's attention. He made a phone call to the FBI when he saw the dates and the coordinates of the next event, saying there's going to be an attack here. And there was some rumor in the news or something about there possibly being an attack anyway, so there was like a little bit of suspicion.
So he knew where the attack was going to take place.
Right.
And they, of course, didn't believe him.
Right.
And he ends up running away from the cops that think he just gave him a bomb threat.
Yeah.
He ends up running onto the problem down in the subway. And it was the oncoming train, the track switched, and it wrecked it.
Yeah.
And the
Big
whole
subway
system just mashed hundreds of people.
And somehow he was there in a subway that got hit, but because he like got down on the ground with this lady who had a child with her and like, laid over her to protect her, they were totally fine.
Listen, they used to tell kids to duck and cover when a nuclear bomb would go off. That used to be like their drills. Like, hide under your desk, you'll be fine. It's like, no.
So if it'll save you from a nuclear blast, it'll definitely save you from a subway accident.
Yeah,
that's why he did it.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Same thing.
So dumb.
He survives that.
Yeah.
But before he goes to do this, he drops his son off with his sister.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
best line of the movie.
As he's going to leave, she hugs him and says, I know there's something you're not telling me. And he just whispers back, don't let him watch the news.
I don't like how CNN and Fox are both pretty biased. I want him to develop neutral. It's fine. Just don't let him watch the news.
And it was just creepy because she whispered something and you bought it. You're like, oh, that's nice. And then when he whispered it, was like, don't let him watch don't. That's what he knows he might die.
Yeah.
And he just don't let my son
because
watch
the news will specifically point out, and an astrophysicist died in this subway wreck.
Astrophysicist from MIT.
If you're the son of this man, you must be really bummed right now.
Yeah. Don't let him watch the news.
And he of course survives that, and
then they turn on Fox and it's like, local liberal astrophysicist fucking snowflake died in a subway accident.
And then he comes home and he's like, all dirty and stuff, and he walks in the door and his son's like, Dad, what happened? He's like, I'm going to bed.
I'm going.
Had it when it turned.
But yeah, I think we circled back to there because we talked about the son confronting him and everything.
Yeah, we're kind of going around in circles.
Yeah, that was...
Time is linear.
Steve just figured it out. No. Oh my God, he figured it out.
It's not time is linear, Steve.
Shit.
Time's a circle,
time
bro.
Is a not circle. Linear, Steve.
Fuck, I still haven't figured out the rival.
He didn't figure it out.
Fucked it out.
Shit.
Oh my God. Yeah. So no, we're basically at the end of the movie because this is after we were just talking about the whisper people at the mobile home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they figure out
now it's the end of the world event.
Yeah. So the end of the world is now happening.
There was 2, and we did a couple of them, and then it's everyone.
Right.
Everyone else.
But so Nicolas Cage figures out, all right, we got to go. The Rose Byrne or the lady that's with them, Diana. I can't remember people's names, but I'll remember their actor name because I'm dumb. But so she decides, oh well, what if we go into a cave or somewhere underground? Like that'll probably save us from the sun exploding our planet, right? And he's like, yeah, totally. Hold on, let me go get my son. And the son's upstairs writing another list of numbers. So I'm like, are the aliens whatever. There's aliens, but I still can't believe it's fucking aliens.
It's fucking aliens.
So are the aliens giving him a new list of natural disasters, or are they giving him the same list and they're just like, dude, seriously, you gotta go?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
they wouldn't give him another list if the whole planet evaporates 24 hours.
But
later.
if they can foresee the future, then they can foresee that he's going to be taken.
If their whole goal is to be like, oh, we want humanity to get a second start, is that another list of dates for after this new planet starts?
That just leaves the possibility open for a sequel, so they don't explain it.
The knowledging.
Yeah, they don't explain it because they want to keep that possibility open.
Oh my God, it's so stupid.
I think it's more of just the whole, the kid hears things and we still don't exactly know what that means yet.
Right. He kind of reminded me of the girl from Poltergeist where she's like, yeah, it's the TV people are coming and invading our house. And he's just like, no, the whisper people are here to help us, Dad. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. It'll be fine.
You'll
float too.
You'll float too. Hiya, Georgie.
But so the end of the world is happening.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage and his lady friend are getting ready to leave, and they get in the car. They're taking their kids with them.
And he figures something else out.
So he gets more numbers.
Yeah. So he goes to the school.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Takes the door and then gets a heat gun and uncovers the other numbers.
And he's going crazy again. This whole movie is either him being sentimental or him being absolutely mentally insane. And there's no in between.
Those are Nicolas Cage's only emotions. Yeah. He's either yelling at somebody or he's very upset about something.
And he's like, I have to figure this out. And he's going insane, scraping a door. And the lady's like, we need to go. And he's like, no, just a few more minutes.
The back of the door holds the key, woman. Just listen to me.
And she's like, you could be wrong. And he's like, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway.
And I had a vision. He's still not telling her the truth because he knows the cave won't save him. And he doesn't tell her that for a while.
Well, he's an astrophysicist.
But he was focused on getting the numbers. And he gets the numbers, decides that's where they need to go to survive.
Right. And it's the coordinates to his lady friend's mom's house, that trailer home that we were just at, where they find all the rocks and all that shit.
Right.
So he's like, no, we got to go there. And Rose Byrne is just like, nah, I'm taking the kids and we're going into a cave, and leaves Nicolas Cage to play with his numbers. So she ends up
play with
your numbers, Nicolas Cage.
He calls her on the way when he figures it out, and the phones are starting to not work so good, and the sky's like super dark and bright at the same time.
He's like screaming at this lady. He's like, we can't go to a cave, you dumb bitch. We're gonna all die. The radiation for the sun will like reach 2 miles under the earth. We're not gonna survive. We gotta go to this mobile home.
He's like, there will be the answer.
Yeah. And she's like, no, the caves are still the way to go. And while she's debating with him on the phone, the Whisper people like carjack her and steal her nice Mazda.
Steal the chosen ones.
Yeah. They're just like, peace out, bro. Grand Theft Auto.
So were you saying that she was arguing with Nicolas Cage at this point?
Yeah, she was still on the phone with him. That's not where her kids...
Oh, when she was on the phone. Yeah,
when she's on the phone.
I thought it was... Well, so she ran off with the kids.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
Sorry, I think I was zoning out a little. But yeah, so...
Welcome back.
Thank you. I was staring at the lovely fireworks on the TV.
Oh.
So, yeah, the aliens take the kids away, and I like how they CGI the faces in the back of the car. Like, the kids clearly weren't actually there.
Like, you couldn't put the kids in the back of a Mazda peeling off at about 15 miles an hour.
No, it's not safe for the children.
Yeah, they CGI their faces.
They already
These damn unions.
They already put a kid in a house and burned it down for this film.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That was a sad scene.
Oh,
a very sad scene.
A little scene that happened was the Whisper people were showing the little boy that the world was going to burn. And they, like, one guy comes in his room, points to the window, and the kid is looking out the window, and you just see the world burning around him. And they zoom out so you can see the house, and it looks like the house is on fire. And Michael just made the comment, shit, sucks they had to burn a house down with a kid inside.
Right? To get that shot, they had to burn the house down around the kid.
Oh,
and that's where we saw all the animals running out of the wildfire.
Fire moose.
That's where the fire moose comes into
full
play.
circle. That's the fire moose.
Time is circular.
It's non-linear, Steve. Circular.
I mean, it's cyclical.
What? Oh my God! I'll get this eventually.
He just refuses to use the correct term.
Cyclical.
It's because I keep forgetting the term, honestly.
The kids get taken.
The kids get taken by aliens. Rose Byrne's get... Oh my God.
She steals a car.
She steals a car and gets hit by a tractor trailer, so she dies.
Yeah, like suddenly.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, she dies.
Yep.
And then Nicolas Cage goes off to this mobile home, where of course the kids are. He ends up following like the tracks of the car.
Well, he stopped into the gas station where she was at, and he's like, where did they go? And the gas attendant happened to remember the direction that they went, and then he finds her, and she's in the back of the ambulance. And and he's like,
very touching. Yes,
I will avenge. I don't know what he says.
I will avenge you. I will stop the world from burning.
And it was
he's
really
like, I'm
weird
sorry
that the paramedics, after like, all right, she's dead, and then they make it a point to say, it was exactly 12 a.m. on this day, and then all the paramedics just leave, and he can be alone with her in the I don't think that's protocol, but
there's
just
too many
left.
sickos out there to leave them alone with dead bodies,
right?
But yeah, so he goes off to this mobile home. He follows the tracks of where the aliens brought the kids, and he ends up in this cornfield that's just covered in these black rocks that they've been leaving after all these tragedies, and he's about to shoot one of these Whisper people, and his son's like, no, Dad, don't do it. They're here to help us, but like not you, but like me. So they're here to help. Don't kill my ride out of here, dude.
That's pretty much what he said.
Dad, I'm trying to get away from you. You've been drinking a lot, and I'm kind of uncomfortable.
So his son comes back holding a white rabbit.
Yes.
He comes walking out of the forest like, hey, Dad, these people are cool. They definitely didn't do anything weird to me.
Yeah, no. They gave me a bunny, so everything's okay.
Yep. Yeah.
They said I could keep it. He's like, son,
they also want me to get in the back of their van. Weird.
They said they have candy and they have a lost dog and they need me to go with them.
But it's space candy.
Yes.
It's a spaceship, not a van.
But Dad, I want space ice cream. Come on, let me go with them.
Actually,
It's just a very elaborate, like, pedophile scheme from the aliens.
Dad, you wouldn't let me go to Jimmy's sleepover earlier, so at least let me go with these guys to get space ice cream. You never let me do anything fun,
They're
Dad.
just alien pedophiles.
On our planet, we like them young.
Oh, no.
no. So
No.
Just
the
We're getting
alien-
canceled.
the
We're
aliens,
getting canceled.
the aliens show themselves. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
They-
good luck going back to the plot after that.
Yeah,
The
man.
aliens show themselves. They're talking to the boy,
Yes.
and the boy realized that his dad isn't the chosen one. Him and Abby are.
Yeah.
And then he's really sad about it. But his dad knows.
He gets
That's
over
what-
it pretty quick.
He
Yeah.
gets it. Yeah. But, you
Takes
know,
him a
that's what
moment.
needs to happen.
yeah. He wasn't chosen, so he's
No.
scum. Leave
So
him there to die.
They take off, and it was probably for having that crazy technology that can reseed planets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They took a long time to open the door for them to get in.
Yeah.
It's that ball shaped thing kept unpeeling.
Yeah, it was-
All right, listen, we learned this from Rick and Morty. The slow ramp is what gets them hard, dude.
Yeah.
Everything's got to go slow.
Slow ramp. It's the anticipation.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
And because it's a Nicolas Cage movie, Nicolas Cage had just enough time to reconcile with his entire family.
His
Yeah,
entire family.
just in time
Years of
for
turmoil.
the solar
Yeah.
flare.
He's like, you know what? I don't know who directed this movie. I got a great idea for the ending. What if my character just has a big group hug and then we incinerate into oblivion?
It's pretty metal.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, it's
he was,
great.
That was
he was
pretty
holding
cool.
his whole family, and his dad's like, "This is the end, son."
It's like, this is what was predicted. Don't worry. I know you were a scientist, but this is a religious movie, so religion came out on top.
well, kind of.
I mean, it's kind of what they were going for.
I think we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But so then the last thing you see is the little kids being released on
Yeah,
this
on
planet.
Earth 2.
Yeah, it's like
Yep.
the
Electric
weird
Boogaloo.
CGI
Way better than the first
grass.
one.
Yeah. Look at
Yeah.
all that grass.
The
and they had
sky
the
was
tree
like
of life.
purple, and
Yeah,
it was kind of cool
a
looking.
big, beautiful tree in the center of everything. It was
Yeah.
real nice. I would want to go there.
Yeah,
and
not
then
bad.
they're frolicking through the forest as you see the spaceships flying away, but you don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
Which is weird because so there were probably like 20 or so ships that came off of Earth. So
Mhm.
you'd assume each of them have two.
Well, they drop their
people.
kids off at like 20 miles away from the trees, so they're like,
Yeah.
walk to your fucking destiny, kids.
So they just like spread them out over a
Yeah.
new planet.
Well, you can't make it too easy. You saved them from oblivion. You might as well let them walk a little bit.
Yeah, and had to be
Well, there
two
wasn't-
white kids.
Yeah, geez.
there was yeah. Luckily there was a lot of other ships around the planet, so
Yeah.
it probably a little bit of everybody got picked. Got
Probably
Right,
just
right.
more
That's
white.
probably Oh, the aliens are a little.
Oh, they're a little biased. Notice all the aliens were white people.
They were white.
Oh no.
So
they were
racist aliens.
they were like white paint. They were like
Yeah, they
see
were
through.
like white. They're
They
trying
were
to.
pale as shit.
Yeah, they're
Hey,
trying to bring.
They did pretty good for
They all had blonde hair and blue eyes. That was
Looking-
weird.
looking like people. For
Yeah.
aliens to take the form of a human, they did
Yeah.
all right.
But they only
with
came to
flashbang
America.
mouths.
No, well,
but
they
yeah,
had
so
they
that's-
had a bunch of other ships take off from
Yeah.
Earth and a bunch
Yeah.
of other leave. So I think there was more than just
Yeah,
those.
I'm
two
sure they
kids.
brought enough people to like
Hopefully.
repopulate and not make it weird.
Yeah, hopefully none of them were related.
Yeah.
Well, I
Anyway.
feel like the aliens would probably get it right.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
hope.
The
They did
aliens
the
that
research.
saved the world and built them a new one.
If Nicolas Cage can figure out the end of the world through Google, I think the aliens could probably Google.
They're like, no,
who's related.
those were cousins.
Yep,
Oops.
nah. Can't take
Either
those.
that or it's
Go to ancestry.com.
trial and error. The first 500 planets they didn't turn out so good.
Well,
They've done this before.
They're just getting the hang of it now.
Yeah.
the world has ended
And
5 other times.
And it still ruined itself in this version, too. Like, we'll try again.
So that insane movie leads the question, does God exist, or was it all just aliens?
Yeah, it's like this weird... They throw in this weird religious plot with Nicolas Cage's family, but it was aliens. So we already know it's not God. We know it's aliens. So I'm like, why even throw in this 45-minute, like... I never got along with my father. I haven't talked to him in years because he's a pastor.
You know why? It's a science fiction film.
Well, and it was the prophecy speech at the end
Yeah, but we could have had the kid give some prophecy speech, like the Whisperman told me of this prophecy.
The people that made the movie could have made the movie different. Crazy.
Yeah, oh my God. It's almost like us sitting here with 2020 hindsight could have written it better in 2009.
Well, yeah, I think it's more of like the kids aren't really concerned about everything else that's going on because they're so enthralled with this whole like, oh yeah, we're going with the Whisper people. Are you coming with us?
We're
like,
going on our trip in our famous rocket ship. I don't know the words.
Something like that. But yeah, so it's weird how it ended on that note of like, wait, so is this supposed to be foreshadowing? Like, not foreshadowing, whatever the opposite of foreshadowing is. The whole Adam and Eve thing from the Bible. Has anyone heard of the Bible? They're like these two people, Adam and Eve. They were the first people on Earth.
Yeah.
It 100% had a religious structure to it.
Yeah.
But aliens were the facilitator.
Right. So it makes it to me seem like their whole point of the movie was God doesn't really exist and our Earth was created by aliens.
Right.
And then it got fucked up, so they're making another one.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie was too fucking like trying way too hard to be philosophical for a movie starring Nicolas Cage where he can predict plane crashes and subway accidents.
Yeah.
Like we didn't need any of this. If this was an hour and a half, it would have been fine.
Could have made it an hour 15.
Just he gets the piece of paper, he predicts the end of the world, and then the world ends. I don't need aliens. I don't need the religious subplot. I don't need Nicolas Cage reconciling with his family. Like, just tell me the disaster story.
But without that, it wouldn't be this movie.
If this movie took everything out of it, then it would be a better movie. Like, no, that's not even a thing.
No, Steve.
If it was a different movie, it would have been different.
Yes, if it was a better movie, it would have been better. Is what I'm trying to say.
That is true. If it were better, it would have been better.
But
it was not.
There are natural disaster movies. This was one that added way more depth to it.
It added stupidity to it.
Okay, it was.
Like, I can wrap my head around natural disasters and a guy being able to predict them. That's interesting enough. Like, oh yeah, he's trying to get people out of these areas before these disasters happen. I can wrap my head around that. That's an okay plot. But then you add aliens, Whisper people, like
the Whisper people were the aliens.
I know, but you don't know that
guiding
at the point.
The children to where
you don't know that into the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but it's a sci-fi movie.
But all Steve's saying is he was mad he didn't know it was aliens until the movie was 95% done.
All I'm saying is I'm mad that they even threw in the aliens. You did not need aliens.
Yeah, but it made it cooler because aliens are cool as fuck, bro.
So you're telling me if the movie would have ended, the lady's mom was crazy and knew the future and you didn't get an explanation for it, that would have been better?
Yes. Because
you'd rather not have an explanation?
Then it's like, oh, wow. So it's like a random occurrence. Like, because from the beginning of the movie, Nicolas Cage is like, life is a series of random occurrences. We can't predict what happens. Nothing matters. So if one random crazy person just happened to get it right and the world ends, that's insane. That's awesome.
But
that's better than shoehorning in aliens and fucking God metaphors in a movie that just is the world ending. Like, imagine Armageddon if they're like, oh, meteors are coming, but aliens could save us. We're going to go up there and try and destroy the asteroid while aliens save the rest of the population down here. Like, you don't need aliens in this.
Just because aliens were in this movie doesn't mean that if they were in other movies, it would also be crazy. Like, yeah, it was crazy, but that is this movie.
But like, yeah, but
his whole arc was going, nothing matters. It's all random, and it's an accumulation of mistakes. To there is a purpose. It happened for a reason,
but what was the reason?
Because
why was the sun exploding to on Earth. Like,
well, no, that's
what
just...
was the reason for that? They didn't explain, like...
That's just, like, honestly a theory that the world is going to end one day in that manner, and it probably will. And scientists kind of know that at this point. But I think it was their way of being like, this solar system is fucked. Like, your planet is fucked. We're going to at least try to save some of the people from your planet and start a new one.
Right.
I think that's what the whole thing is.
Yeah, well, the normal thing would have just been like to take that arc, and it would have been religious. And, he believed at the end. Well, they were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're gonna make both of them right, and it's going to be aliens. And why not? Because that's how they made the movie.
Yeah. It also does kind of tie in the whole idea that Christianity is really just like, with all the biblical stories from long ago, people suspect that it was actually aliens communicating with people and not God, and that they kind of shaped a few things in the world. And then they fucked off because they're like, all right, we made a planet. It was, it all started with the aliens.
All right.
So it comes back to that.
All those theories aside.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, in Arrival, it made sense that aliens showed up. They had a purpose. In this, it feels like you could have had the same movie, just ignore the alien subplot and just put them in the caves and have them survive in the caves.
I'm sorry, did you compare Arrival, one of the best movies?
Well, it's a sci-fi movie about aliens.
No, different levels.
And all you're saying is the ending should have been this. That has nothing to do with the actual movie.
I know, but that's if you want my opinion on the movie.
They could have survived in the caves. Well,
right.
No, they couldn't. They already stated in the movie that it was going to go down a mile.
Note. Ended on a down note. Just let them all die.
All you're saying is you wanted the movie to be different in parts.
Yes. You wanted them to die differently.
I wanted them to all die in a cataclysmic event. That would have been fine.
They all did.
It just didn't make sense to bring in aliens. That's all I'm trying to say. That's the whole purpose of this past.
It was in the science fiction category. It's in the science fiction genre.
Under the horror category too. It doesn't fucking matter.
It was.
So you're saying you wish it was horror instead of science fiction? It would have made
more sense as just a horror, like world-ending movie than it did as shoehorn aliens in at the end and make it somewhat make sense.
Sure, that's a valid point, but I will say that the whole base of the movie was centered around this ending, so... It all started because of the aliens.
Then again, I don't know what I expected from a movie of Nicolas Cage predicting the end of the world.
I'm sure this movie had terrible ratings.
I would have expected.
He didn't predict it. He was the prophet that understood the message.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's why he called his dad. He's like, I got this prophecy. I need you to take it.
Dad, I got a prophecy.
Yeah. It makes about as much sense as Mark Wahlberg being like, no, bro, it's the plants, bro.
Hey, shocker, Steve. The Nicolas Cage science fiction movie didn't quite make sense.
I know, but that's all I'm trying to say. And you're defending it more than I think you defended good movies we've watched.
I'm not defending the movie. I'm just saying, you're just saying this should have been different.
Yeah.
You're just saying it should have been better, which we all know this movie was terrible. We're just making sense of the terribleness is all.
Yeah. Like the movie was
all
intended.
All I'm saying is if I could have predicted the future, I would have predicted how to make this movie better. And then we all wouldn't have had this argument back then.
There was a set of numbers on the back, and it was actually the longitude and latitude for right here for doing this podcast.
Fighting about knowing that came out in 2009.
No one's fighting. We're just talking about the movie, and you add things that aren't the movie.
As soon as I end this podcast, I will be fighting you.
All right. Well,
okay. Tune in next week for just me and Danielle because Steve's still in the hospital.
Sorry, we turned on you, Steve.
Oh, God damn it!
Oh, you're gonna help? Hey, sweet.
Yeah, sweet. I'm joining Michael's side because I think he would win.
Thanks for listening. This has been every film in the book. I will be dead next time. Apparently,
and you know what? I know.
Oh shit.
I know
he read the code. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. This has been a blast. I actually had a lot of fun with this one.
This movie is so stupid.
It's terrible.
Go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, watch it if you haven't. You'll have a great afternoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Wait, I'm gonna put the theme music on.
I know, but I was singing along.
Oh.
It's all gonna be faded out.
All right, bye guys.